Hello and welcome to NFL season schedule predictions. We're going to be going over the NFC East today, and to explain my system quite rapidly, I have a system, and I also go through and give them a win or loss prediction, and also a score of 1 through 4 on my rubric. My rubric is a 1 ASMR. Wait, 1 is a unlikely chance to win the game, and the ASMR trigger associated with it is the globe for today. And a 2 is a toss-up, a 50-50 chance of winning the game is basically what I'm saying. Could go either way. Then I have that. And then for a 3 means that there's a likely chance of winning, like a higher. I think they're gonna win. I think they're likely going to win. You know what I'm saying? It's not like guaranteeing the win, but they should win. And that's a 3. And then for the 4, which is I'm basically giving 100% guarantee. Like, I'm saying they're gonna win that game, no question, in my eyes. That's it. Snippy snip, scissors. All right, and then if it gets to a 0, I don't really do zeros. I have given before, but if they do, I'll make up a trigger on the spot. Like I said, we're doing the NFC East today, and we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Dallas at Tampa Bay to open the season. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 1. I considered giving it a 2. I considered very hard giving it a 2. But I just felt it was a little bit closer to, like, I didn't think they were gonna do that well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be true to myself and keep it at a 1. At the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm gonna give them a 2 and a loss. So I'm gonna do this is for the 1 for Dallas at Tampa Bay, and this is for Dallas at the Los Angeles Chargers. The week after that is at home to Philadelphia, and I'm gonna give them a 3 and a W. Week 4 at home versus Carolina. I'm gonna give that one a 2. I'm gonna give that one a loss. Week 3 at home versus the New York Giants. I'm gonna give them a 2. And am I gonna give them a dub? I think I am. 2 and a W. Next is at New England. I'm gonna give them a 2 and a loss. At Miami, I'm gonna give them a 2 and a W. It's possible I gave Miami a W in this circumstance, when I did this as well for the AFC East. I will either rectify or change one or the other and go over it during my recap. Week 8. Oh, by recap, I mean like the whole recap, the whole thing, which will include predictions for the playoffs, the seeding, and who's going to advance. Yeah, I'm probably going to be wrong, don't worry. I know I am. I know I will likely be wrong. So week 8 for the Dallas Cowboys is at home versus Denver, and I'm giving them a a 2, but I'm also giving him a W. Week 9 at home versus Atlanta. Now, like I said before, I have a feeling that Dan Quinn is going to have a very hard time this game. I think Art Smith is going to attack his defense hard. So I'm giving it a 2, and I'm giving him a loss. Now, at Kansas City, I'm going to give them a 1 and a loss. Week 11 at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm gonna give them a 3. Yeah, I'll give them a 3. I wanted to give them a 2, but I'm gonna give them a 3. It's a barely a 3. It's like a 2 and no, it's like a 3.1. No, it's like a 2.98. Week 12 at New Orleans. I'm gonna give them a 2 and W. Week 13 at Washington. I'm gonna give them a 1 and a loss. I know they're gonna lose at least one of these games, and I feel like it's probably gonna be the one away first. Wrong trigger. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was a 2 and I'm supposed to be giving you a 1. Okay, week 14 at the New York Giants. I'm gonna give them a 2, and I'm gonna give them a 0. Really debated on giving him a 1, but that's just to show how true of a 2 it is. Division games are hard to predict. Week 15 at Washington. Oh, sorry, at home against Washington. I'm gonna give him a 2, but I'm also gonna give him a W. Week 16 at home versus Arizona. I'm gonna give him a 2 and a loss. And then the last week of the season is at Philadelphia. I think it's going to be a 2. Let's give it a 3, but a 2 and a W. So I will do some quick math. And then do some other quick math, and then let you know their score and their record prediction. Then we'll be moving on to the next team in the AFC East. Dallas Cowboys earned a rubric score for me of 33, and they have a record prediction of 8-9. Moving on to the Washington football team. 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 Not the Redskins, the football team. Week 1 for at home versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I'm gonna give them a 2, and I'm gonna give them a loss because Justin Herbert hat train. This will be my conductor hat. I am on that train. But I'm also hugely in favor of the Washington football team defense and team as a whole. So I think they're going to be very good. Let's talk about the Cowboys real fast. The Cowboys defense is going to be good against the run. They are going to be pretty bad against the pass. And they will not be good in clutch situations. Their offense is going to be pretty darn good. Probably more pass oriented than running oriented than it used to be. Pollard's probably going to get used more than most people think. Their offense is going to be the power of their team this year, like it was going to be last year. Dan Quinn's defense is not going to be spectacular, but it will do well in certain aspects. I think it's not going to do well in the aspects that require the team to win the game, but that's not here nor there. Their defense is going to be it's going to be okay. It's going to be really good in certain aspects and certain times, but then fall apart. So now I'm moving back over to the Washington football team. Their D-line is crazy good. Just crazy good. And the linebacking core is solid, not bad. Secondary, very, very good. So their defense is nasty. The defense I like to grab in fantasy, to be honest. Fantasy football, I mean. And their offense, Ryan Fitzpatrick, very freaky, hot, cold. Hopefully he gets hot enough to where the defense can just only need 2.5 really good drives. You know what I mean? Because Fitz can usually do that. Sometimes he'll go for 5 touchdowns or something like that. I don't know. I don't think he's already on for 5, but probably 4. They got receivers. I love Terry McLaurin, man. Tony Gibson's a good running back. Their O-line's good. Tight end's okay. Logan Thomas is not bad at all. It's going to be a good team. I'm talking too much about them. New York Giants, week 2 at home. That's a 3 and a dub, especially if they lost week 1. If they lose week 1, this one might be a 4, but I think it's 3. Week 3 at Buffalo. I'm going to give it a 2 because it's a toss-up, but I am going to give them an L. Week 4 at Atlanta. Now, they might win this game just because their D-line is probably that much better than the Falcons' offensive line. If the Falcons' offensive line can hold its own, the Falcons will win this game. If they don't, it's probably gonna be the football team. So I'm gonna give it a 2, and I'm gonna give it an L, just because Atlanta typically does well against the Washington team. No bias whatsoever. No bias. I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing that indicates any sort of Falcons bias. No. Week 5 at home versus New Orleans. This is Von Rivera versus Sean Payton, and Sean Payton's like basically a broke crackhead at this point because he's coaching the team that doesn't have a home right now because the hurricane. He's coaching a team that doesn't really have a certain, like, a lot of its players are not there anymore because either injury or they cut them or something along the lines of just not being able to be a part of that team. And also Jameis Winston's like the quarterback now, so and Ron Rivera's used to seeing him in Tampa already, so he knows how to deal with him there. I'm giving it a 4, and I'm going, obviously it's a W. And plus, at this point, if they do go 1-3 like I am predicting to start off the year, then they are absolutely good. It's a win now game. Given all the losses I have are 2s, which means they could easily be wins. So they could also be undefeated at this point. Week 6 at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to give them a 2. And did I give them a W? I'm going to give them a loss. Just because it's hard to do that, you know? I mean, like, it might have, I need to do this. The Chiefs are hard to beat. Chiefs are just hard to beat. Week 7 at the Green Bay Packers. No, I would give this one a 1. Normally, even with how good of the defense Washington is, because I think Green Bay is going to be that good, especially at home. However, Washington, for some reason, historically does pretty well against Aaron Rodgers. But it's Aaron Rodgers' revenge season, so it's another loss another tough loss in my guesstimation for the football team here against Green Bay. And if you're curious on the update so far, that would my prediction. If my prediction comes exactly true and correct, they'd be 5-2 currently. Sorry, 2-5. Yes, 2-5. Now at Denver, it's either a 2. It's a close one. It's a 2 or a 3, but it's a 2 and a W is what I'm gonna go with. It's a 2 and a W. I almost gave it a 3, but I'm gonna give it a 2. Home versus Tampa. I'm going to give them a home win. And then we have week 10 at Carolina. Pretty sure that's going to be a 2 and another win. And then we have week 11 at home versus Seattle. And I'm actually going to give them a 3 and a W here. I think their D-line is just going to straight up suffocate the Seahawks offensive line. And Russell Wilson can move, but so can that entire football team front. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, John Payne, Jonathan Allen. I think it's just going to stop the Seahawks offense from working that well, and I don't think the Seahawks defense is that good anyway, so I think the football team's going to be able to churn fine on offense. So it's a 3 and a W. At Las Vegas is a 2 and a W. It's only a 2 because it's away. And then at home versus Dallas, I'm pretty sure I'm going to give them 1. Yeah, so it's a 3 over here and a W. So as a testament to the fact that I do like the football team as a team this year in terms of them being good. I used the wrong trigger again. I'm sorry. Is the fact that the Dallas football team has 6 wins in a row for my prediction right now, and one of those against Tampa. The next week is at Philadelphia, and that's a 2 and a W. And the next one's at Dallas, 2 and a loss, finally ending their hot streak of 7 wins in a row. Then at home versus Philly, and that's going to be a 3 and a W. And then to end off the year, oh man, I used the wrong trigger again. I'm really bad at this today. I'm doing real bad at this. You guys are getting extra triggers. Look at you. To end the season, the Washington football team faces the New York Giants at New York Giants. I'm giving it a 2, but I don't know who I think's gonna win. I'm gonna go ahead and give them an L, just because it's a division game and they're probably gonna lose more division games than I think they are. So let's do some math. I have the Washington football team going 11 and 7 with a rubric score of 42. So that's a 9-point higher grade than Dallas and a 2-game difference. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you now. I think the football team's going to win the division. Now, I haven't done, obviously, the other 2 teams' predictions for how they're going to do. However, I think the Washington football team is going to win their division. So, the next 2 teams are likely not going to have as high of a record or rubric. That being said, we're doing Philadelphia next, and I don't have a lot of faith in Philly this year, so this might be kind of rough. Philadelphia Eagles, 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 Philadelphia Eagles. Week 1. Oh, sorry, let's talk about Philly real fast before we get into it. Philadelphia's defense, linebacking core, I don't really know anyone, to be honest. Yeah, I could try, but I think I'd miss. Maybe Duke Riley? No, stop, I'm gonna miss. The defensive line, solid though. Solid. Fletcher Cox is still great. Barnett, I'm pretty sure, is there. I think Graham's still there too. Their D line is fine. Their D line is very good. It's going to probably keep them in games. Their secondary seems okay as well. So this defense is okay. Not scary, but pretty okay. And their offense looks subpar, in my opinion. It might be an upgrade over last year. It might work this year. I personally don't love Jalen Hurts. And I love Devontae Smith. Rager's done some cool things at camp. I don't know if the Rager's going to translate to actual in-game. Devonta will. but I don't know if that's going to be enough to make the offense work because I don't think their O-line's going to be good. And with the O-line not being good, it's going to make Hurts have to play better than he actually is or ready to play. You know what I mean? Like, he's not that good yet. It's going to put a lot more weight on his shoulders than he can burden, especially without a run game, which I think is going to be the case. So, week 1, Philadelphia Eagles at the Atlanta Falcons. It's a 2. It's a 2 and it's a loss. In week 2, at home versus the San Francisco 49ers, it's a 2 and it's a loss. Week 3, at the Dallas Cowboys, it is a 1 and it's a loss. And it's week 4 at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a 1 and a loss. I almost gave him a 0 that time, but I'm trying not to give zeros. Carolina, it's a 2 and a loss. It's almost a 1, but it's a 2. And it's still a loss. At home versus Tampa Bay. It's a 2. And it's a loss. I only give it a 2. I only give it a 2 because of the chance that the Eagles D-line just gets in Tom Brady's face and doesn't let him do anything. And that's the only way that game works out for the Eagles. Week 7, I think it is, at the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I think I gave this one a W. I'm going to go back and check real fast. I'm going to cheat. Okay, yeah. That's also I'm going to give him a 2 and a loss. Now, week 8 at Detroit. I'm going to give him a 2 and a loss. That's been the case for most of these so far. And at home versus the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm going to give them a 2 and a loss. Week 10 at Denver Broncos. Gonna give him a 2 and a loss. Now I feel like if this game was at Philly, I'd probably give him a win. Now, at home versus New Orleans. Now I'm gonna cheat a little bit again. And that's what I thought was the case. Congratulations, Philadelphia, on your first win of the season. In week 11 or 12, whatever it is. I didn't put the bye week on this one. It's your 11th game of the year and you finally got a win against the homeless New Orleans Saints. Week 12 at the New York Giants. I'm going to have 2 and a loss. They almost have enough momentum to sneak away another win. Probably would if it was at home, but not this week. Next week is at the New York Jets, and that's also a 2 and a loss. They're in a lot of these games. Their D-line is just loaded keeping them this, but I think their offense is just not going to work that well, to be honest. At home versus Washington. I'm going to give them a 2 and a loss here. Philadelphia currently has 1 win on their schedule. But that's about to change with a 3. Yeah, sorry, I'm giving them a 3. 3 and a W at home against the New York Giants. Why do I think this is going to happen? I just think the Giants are going to not do that well down the stretch. And Philadelphia's going to be like, we can't finish the year with a 1 win. We got to get 2. At Washington, that's a 1 and a loss. Because Washington's going to be pushing for playoffs. Then to finish it off, I'm going to give it a 2 and a W. I think. Yeah, I guess not. Just to show that I truly think it's a 2. It's a 2. But I'm going to give them a loss because that's what I gave. I gave Dallas a win. So, I almost gave that one. I kind of want to retroactively do that. Because now I'm looking at it like. Nah, I'm gonna keep it as a Dallas win, just for continuity and other reasons. Let's do some math. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy right there. It's crazy. They got a 32. That's 1 point less than Dallas Cowboys got on my rubric. The Dallas Cowboys record was 8-9. The Philadelphia Eagles, which I currently am projecting them to get, let me preface this before I say the true number. Most of the games were 2s, so that means a lot of them were they could win. So most of the games it was a flip flop. Most. Now I'm projecting them to finish 2 and is it 16 now? 2 and 15. 2 and 15. Two and 15. All right, now to the last team of the NFC East division, the Washington football team. Oh, the New York Giants. Excuse my kerfuffle. It's the New York Giants. It's the New York Giants. It's the New York Big Apples. It's the New York Giants. It's the James and the Giant Beach New York Giants. All right. To recap the New York Giants, their defense is strong. Their secondary looks good. Their linebacking core looks solid. Their defensive ends and line look good. And their interior line looks good. So defense is up there with Washington. To be honest, it's not quite as good, but it's going to be streaky. But when it's streaky, it's going to be as good as Washington's is when it's on the hot part. But they're going to be more streaky. And so will their offense. They have more talent, in my opinion. Saquon is still Saquon, even if he is a little hurt, hopefully. Fingers crossed, because he's a great player. They've got receivers. Even if I don't love any of them, they've got a bunch of them. Daniel Jones, he's shown he can do some really cool things. But the question is, can he be consistent with those really cool things? And can the offensive line allow them to do the really cool things? That one I think is no. That's the answer I think I have for that question. Probably not. Week 1 at home versus the Denver Broncos. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit because yeah, that's what I thought. I'm going to give it a 2, and I'm going to give them an L. And I'm going to give them, sorry, the next one was at Washington. I'm going to give them a 1 and an L. Next, week 3 is at home versus Atlanta, so I'm going to give them a 2 and an L. And I'm going to have them at New Orleans, which is going to be a 2. And I almost gave them a W, but I'm going to give them an L. And then next week is at Dallas, and that's going to be a 2 and another L. And if you're noticing a pattern, I have the New York Giants 0-5 as well as the Philadelphia Eagles starting off the season 0-5. Now, the Giants are a little bit less likely to do that, in my opinion. The week 6 at home versus the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I'm gonna give them a 2 and a W. I don't know if that's something I want to keep with, but I think I'm something I'm putting it down for now. I just have a feeling. Week 7 at home versus Carolina. I'm gonna give them a 2 and a loss. And then week 8, or whatever it is, but game 8 is at Kansas City. That's a 1 and a loss. And then at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm going to 2 and a W. And then at Tampa Bay is going to be a 2. And I'm going to give a loss. If it was at home, I'd probably give them a win. But since it's at Tampa, I'm going to give them a 2. A loss. At home versus Philly, that's a 3 and a W. Week 12 is at Miami, which is going to be a 2, and I want to give them a W, but I'm going to check my notes with my previously established predictions. Okay, well, I guess I'm wrong there. I'm going to give them a 2 and a loss. Los Angeles Chargers at Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to give them a 2 and a loss also, because their defense might shut them down, but I don't think so. At home versus Dallas, it's a 2 and a W. And then at Philly, I think it's just going to be, I think they're going to lose that game, so I'm going to give them a 1. I'm going to give them a loss. And then at Chicago is and kill the time. 2. One second. Just for 2 moments. 2 and a loss. And then to finish out the year, I had them at home versus the Redskins. Versus the football team. I apologize. 2 and a W. So let's do some calculations and we can get to the bottom of the NFC East finally. The New York Giants with a equal score to Philadelphia of 32, but yet they have a record prediction of 5-12. It's a equal score to Philadelphia, yet it's a 3-game difference. And there's a 1-point difference between those two and a 3-game difference as well. Interesting. I might have to change my rubric next year to where I do 3 being in the middle and 2 being slightly less likely to win, 4 being likely to win, and 5 being super likely to win. And yeah, I'm probably gonna do that next year. But I got plenty of time till then, so. And I got one more division to do, and that's the NFC West, and that'll be out in just a bit. For all of you who are still here, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. I hope I provided good enough ASMR for you. And I hope you go to sleep. And I hope you're already asleep. Enjoy football today. Enjoy football whenever it comes back on, whenever you're watching this, Sweet dreams.